My lords, ladies and gentlemen, it is a true honour and privilege to stand before you this afternoon. Firstly, like Neil as your fellow countryman, thankfully our Alex Salmon didn't get his way in the end. And secondly, as the company of the Merchants of the Staple of England's 2013 Nuffield Scholar. This scholarship really exemplifies everything that is good about Nuffield. Here we have a company that represents English wool supporting a Scottish producer of wool-shedding sheep. My sponsorship would not have been possible without the considerable leap of faith of the selection panel, the generosity of industry sponsors, the love, support, and very occasional deaf ear of my wife, Gilly, family, and friends. And I will be eternally grateful for the opportunity, the experience, and the journey. This presentation signals the near completion of two epic tests of endurance, my Nuffield journey and your Nuffield conference. Fear not, there are only two more presentations to go. My Nuffield journey has been truly remarkable. And it's only whilst preparing for this presentation that I've realised how far metaphorically I've travelled, through realising the knowledge base that I actually started with. However, what's even more remarkable is that I'm here at all. Over the last 18 months, I have genuinely, time and time again, stepped out with my comfort zone. And for those of you who know me will appreciate that can be a rather large step. I've visited over 86 businesses or individuals in 10 countries. I've been kicked in Kenya, unwell in Uruguay, questioned by the police at length in Paraguay, chased by a feral dog in Chile, bogged in Brazil, caught speeding on 3 occasions and badly lost in 5 continents. However, we have to remember that the children of Israel walked around the desert for 40 years, which just goes to show that even in biblical times, farmers didn't ask for directions. Grassland accounts for 2/3 of the agricultural land in the UK, 60% of agricultural output, and £10 billion worth of ruminant products per year. I've only been working in the UK agricultural industry for 14 years. However, during that time, I've watched potential worldwide markets for meat and milk products grow. Global prices for livestock products increase, and yet UK pasture-based livestock numbers have steadily decreased as enterprises have failed to capture the increased revenue at bottom line. This position has combined with my more recently evolved hatred of the word sustainable. The word sustainable has become hotly contested by government, environmentalists, farmer representation, retailers and consumers. There is wide-ranging debate over its overuse, its definition, and certainly its relevance to farmers. However, this combination did inspire my quest to improve my knowledge and build the Charlie Russell 6-step process on how to improve the success and sustainability of grass-based livestock systems. This comes with a considerable health warning. Firstly, pasture-based livestock systems must begin by growing as much grass as they possibly can and measuring it. This is not exercise paddocks. This is a crop that we must grow. Measurement is the first step that leads to control and eventually to improvement. If you can't measure something, you can't understand it. And if you can't understand it, you can't control it. And if you can't control it, you can't improve it. Understanding the intrinsic link between grass utilization and profit are absolutely key, whilst driving grass production through improving soil health, utilizing livestock and grazing techniques will unleash this potential. My research concluded that optimizing soil health could increase grass production 3-fold and with a 2-year payback. The next step is to turn most of the grass we grow into animal protein. It really doesn't matter if it's milk, beef, lamb, goat, venison. That's entirely a personal choice. The key is to have a cost-effective animal management program which reduces animal wastage and maximises herd growth or flock. Breeding goals in the UK show significantly more variation than in any other country I've ever visited. Today's livestock farmers are fortunate to have additional tools that our grandfathers didn't have. They don't replace good stockmanship, but they do undoubtedly speed up the rate of and consistency of improvement. We must move the debate on in the UK from if they work to how we can improve accuracy, the speed of uptake, and the speed of improvement. When soil fertility has been optimised and aggressive grazing animals that are bred for purpose are on farm, it's now time to grow productivity. It's entirely possible to grow at least 14 tonnes of dry matter on every hectare of rotational grazing land in the UK, but we currently average less than a third of this. Good grazing management is best on keeping grass and clover plants leafy and actively growing, whilst matching grass supply to the livestock needs. Rotational grazing is not a New Zealand-born idea. It's not even a new concept. Nature and evolution have spent millions of years trying to get this model correct. The principle of really any grazing model is to make sure that it models the migratory potential of scaleless nature. 12-hour shifts can increase grass production by 34%, and animals will eat an additional 16%. These two very small changes increase the grazing potential of your farm by 50%. Now we're ready to grow the business. Whilst it makes sense to fund improvements immediately to increase the potential of your land, rather than relying on an underperforming farm to progressively fund a series of drip improvement projects, it is absolutely paramount to achieve a level of skill before developing scale through expansion. I was very fortunate to meet some truly exceptional pasture-based business couples. They were very rarely singular. And it became obvious to me that where they really differed from Mr. and Mrs. Average was their clarity of joint vision and their business governance. Through a transparent live vision that was monitored and evaluated, it created an alignment between their stakeholders and improved deliverability. Professional governance is as vital in the family farm as it is in the corporate juggernaut. It is vital to keep it simple. A huge amount of enthusiasm, enterprise and margin are eroded chasing a final elusive 5%. It can often be more rewarding to replicate than complicate. We must understand that profitability, sustainability and success are initially a choice. Pasture-based livestock farming cannot happen without the people to look after it, and managing a team effectively and efficiently to deliver the business's vision is one of the most important and difficult steps. Thankfully, we are all different, but it is important to understand what motivates your team and respond to that. Hence, growing people in grass-based businesses is as important as growing grass. As technology has entered agriculture, there are less and less people required to look after the livestock, and farms have become increasingly specialised. This brings issues such as community shrinkage, repetitive workloads, less seasonal availability, and less progression opportunities within the farm. This is especially true in the more remote areas where much of the grazing land in the UK is situated. I was fascinated in areas of New Zealand and South America to see individual farmers coming together to financially and physically support what they perceived as priority local services, namely schools, shops, and more obviously, pubs. Farmers in these regions recognised that without these local services, their positions within the teams would become less attractive to prospective team members, and therefore they actively managed a solution which would generally create employment for team members' families and would further increase their affiliation to the area and the business. Regular team meetings should be given priority to help reinforce this business vision, and individual team members must receive a transparent appraisal that objectively reviews their performance and sets targets and timescales for delegation, progression, and empowerment. We should not be afraid of sharing business success with key personnel through additional non-core training, bonuses, share profit, or share ownership. With the correct people and the correct structure, this will only drive success. So it sounds like my Nuffield has just reinforced my capitalist views. I unashamedly enjoy making money, but not at the expense of habitat, environment, or welfare. Sustainability is undeliverable without profitability. Indeed, it may be the same thing. And sustained profitability is only deliverable through technical efficiency. However, true business success and sustainability are achieved through managing a triple bottom line, a process by which the business manages its financial, social, environmental risks and obligations and opportunities, the 3 Ps of profits, planet, and people. Throughout my travels, I witnessed many successful conservation projects, either enforced under law, enforced under product purchase, or simply farmers acting as custodians of the land, designing and funding on-farm programs to conserve species, aesthetic viewpoints, historic sites, or enhancement programs. However, I concluded that it was only in countries where schemes were regularly and objectively reviewed and encouraged to evolve to deliver the objectives where sustainable conservation was actually achieved. This is particularly true when considering ecosystems with a legally protected apex predator. To survive the imminent changes, livestock farmers need to plan a strategy to maximize the efficiency of their business. Successful and sustainable pasture-based livestock farmers of the future will need to adapt and engage with an evolving political arena. They will need to align their production to their consumers' demands, reduce their impact on environment, and optimize the production and utilization of grass. They need to find ways to improve the feed efficiency of their livestock and effectively and efficiently grow the people within their business, whilst continuing to strengthen it to cope with increasing volatility. In short, we need to change before we have to. To quote Charles Darwin this time, it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one who is most responsive to change. Thank you very much.